So let's get into this with some specifics, right? So tell me like something you're saying to yourself right now. Good. So have you ever planned to do it? Like, okay, this Wednesday I'm going to do it or whatever. Like, have you ever planned that? Do you have these things written down? So this is a good lesson for you and for everyone else. Number one thing I would say about this, do not store anything in your head. Do not store anything in your head, okay? What happens when your hard drive or your phone is completely full? It really slows it down. Sometimes it really messes up the phone. Like I had it a couple of weeks ago where because of photos and all these things I'm taking pictures of, like the phone just kept restarting. It was messing up because it had absolutely no memory to even move at all, right? So what we want to do is we want to actually free ourselves up, our mind wise, right? I try and make it a habit to never ever store anything in my mind. That makes me look very dumb, right? And I don't mind, I prefer to be dumb, right? So what I would advise is like have one document somewhere which is flexible, like on your phone, whether it's Apple Notes or whether it's like Notepad or you know, there's actually real software out there which is notes apps as well. Do you have something where you capture stuff like ideas or things to do? So one of the things I would do, and this is from this book called Getting Things Done, what he says is that what you should do is you should write all your actions down and write what is the next action you need to do, right? So you should actually write every single action. And that's what I would do. Like one of the activities you should do after this call is sit down and go, right, what are all the things I need to do? And you can even start a new note, whatever. And this note will be only about things to do or next actions. Like if I have time or if I'm ever free or if I want to do stuff, what are the next actions I should do? So the first thing I would do is I would actually put them all down. Okay, so I would like to do a brain dump and I would put all the actions that are in my head that I should do. Whether it's something I was intending to do 6 months ago, whether it's something I think I should do in 2 months, whether it's just a general idea that I'm thinking I'm going to need to do this for Project Illumination or anything like that, just write it all down. After you write it down, then what I would do is I would actually go through it and I would be like, what do I delegate, delete? What do I, you know, all that kind of thing we discussed before about deferring it, deleting it, delegating it. Like I would go through that list and I'll be like, what can I like delete? What can I defer? What can I delegate? All those kind of things. And even if you decide to keep all of that, then I'll be like, you know what? What's the most important thing of this for me to do? So I would start to create some sort of priority order of what exactly needs to be done next, right? And then what I would do is I would actually look at the actions, and sometimes you need to break them down because it might just be some bigger action that you've written down, right? And you're like, okay, this is a huge action, so it's overwhelming, and therefore it would help me to procrastinate, in which case I will never do it, right? So instead, you want to like really, really break it down, right? You want to do some level of what they call chunking, right? It's like breaking it down into tiny bits so it's not overwhelming and you're clear on what to do next, right? So what I'm saying here, this is a bit of work, but overall what I'm saying is that if you sort this thing out and you create a system to actually do stuff, this will help you in the long run to actually end up doing some of this stuff, right? Because what happens when you're driving and you're lost? If you're driving and you're lost, you're confused, you drive really slow, okay? You don't know where you're going, you're driving slow and you're looking around and you're driving slow and you might have an accident, right? The second you ask someone where you're going, or you think about a route that you know very well, where you have clarity, your speed accelerates, right? So it's the same thing with the work that you're trying to do. If there's a big haze around what it actually is, and it's massive and it's this and this, actually getting it done becomes very difficult because there's confusion instead of clarity. Once you have clarity, doing it becomes so much easier, right? So what you need to do is dump everything, get clear on what you can get rid of, get clear on what you could give to someone else, what you can defer, and of what's left, prioritize it, and then make it clear. So don't say something like, oh, I need to improve the module, right? Because improve the module is a very like thing, okay? So maybe rather than write improve the module, I would say something like add a video that benefits the module, okay? So now in my mind, I'm like, okay, I need to add a video that will benefit the module. Or maybe I could even go one like before that and go research and find one video that, you know, makes the point about influence. So now when I sit down to actually, okay, I've got time now, what should I do? What's my next action? And because you put it in priority order, that becomes like your next actions list. So when I sit down now, I'm actually going to spend time and effort and energy on the most important thing of my whole list. And not only am I going to spend time on it, but I'm absolutely clear on exactly what I need to do. So now doing it becomes easy because it's clear and it's small. So let me just do that one action of going on YouTube and finding some videos related to influence. Okay, let me go on there. Oh, I found one. Okay, great. This is it. Done. Tick it off. Tick it off because it's actually scientifically proven to give you a good feeling to tick it off. I've done that. So this is what I'm saying, that create this kind of system where you are able to capture everything, organize it correctly, and then start hitting off the most important things. Does that make sense? Right? And then alongside that, what I would say is that really, like, there's different ways. Like, one of the things we were talking about in the past, some of the brothers, we were saying one really good way of doing things sometimes is that I was speaking to his brother. He was saying to me that I'm having real difficulty. I feel like I'm just lazing around since uni's finished, all this kind of stuff. And what I said to him is that in the day, have small wins that you do very early on. So, for example, making your bed, doing wudu, praying fajr, doing your adhkar, reading Quran, writing something in your journal, being grateful to Allah. Like, I'm saying all of these things, you could do almost all of them within half an hour, okay? But I'm saying when you're doing these things, see each of them as a win. Like, I made my bed, that's a win, that's a great action I did. I did wudu, that's a win, that's a great action. I prayed fajr on time, that's a win, that's a great action. I did adhkar, win, great action. I did Quran. So it's like, if I do all of those things in half an hour, I should feel great. I should feel great, right? Because if I act, and this is what I'm saying about being present, and remember the Prophet said, do not belittle any good deed. So rather than just going, oh yeah, it's just the morning, I just did it. It should be like, wow, like, you know what? I made my bed, I prayed wudu, I prayed fajr on time. Right now I prayed fajr on time. There are millions of Muslims, forget non-Muslims, who are sleeping while it's fajr time. I prayed fajr on time. That's a huge win, right? I read Quran, I did. And so already the day is a win. You don't need to feel like a loser. You don't need to beat yourself up. The day is a win from that perspective, right? And then the other thing I said to him is that once you do those mini wins, one thing sometimes I do, depending upon what mood I'm in, how I'm working, I'm like, you know what? Let me just focus on one big thing that I want to achieve today. One big thing. Okay. Now you might say, that's all right for you, Muhammad. Like, you're free the whole day. You choose what you do. No. I'm saying, even if I was working in a job, I might be like, okay, I'm going to go do my job. But outside of the job, what's one thing I'm going to achieve today? And I would just focus on one thing. And now with this one thing, it might be fairly sizable, right? I might say, okay, I'm going to write the copy for a landing page, for example, right? So it might be something significant, but today that's all I'm going to worry about. I'm going to worry about doing this one thing. And after that, I'm going to be like, I'm going to chill. I'm going to watch the football. I'm going to relax. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, whatever. But let me just do this one thing and then actually do that thing first thing. Do it as your first thing. If you can do it before work, do it as your big main thing. Spend time on it, get it finished, get it done. And then after that, just be like, you know what? I had a great day. I did everything I could do. Does that make sense? Do you feel that you're struggling with how patient you should be with yourself versus how much you should push yourself? And this comes back to something we discussed earlier, right? In the earlier weeks about like how much stuff is actually on your plate and why is it on your plate and what can you say no to and what can you get rid of and what can you really clear down? Because it's very difficult for you to achieve like real depth in lots of different areas. Right. But if you're focused on one area, it's much easier, right? Like, it's that whole thing of, if I go in one direction, seven steps, I will get further than if I go one step and then change direction and one step and one step. Like, I'll just be going around in a circle. But if I just go in one direction, I'll be like that. And it's the same thing when your projects and all these things you're doing in your life, that if you start taking different things and you're just putting energy and time into all these different things, you will not go as far as you would if you were to put it all into one thing, right? And I do believe that, we as human beings, we are capable of doing like two focus. For me, I think the best thing is that you have one focus and you're fully in that focus and you're fully there and you're fully going and you're seeing big results and you're doing big things, right? Ultimately, right? But of course, I'm trying to be practical because I know in my life, there were times when I was actually working in a job and therefore I had a responsibility to the job. And then I wanted to do something outside. So for me, it's that I think it's very viable for someone to do a job and then have one main focus outside. And I would actually say outside the job, you should restrict it to one main focus. Why? Because you also have a personal life, right? Which includes family, friends, your own body, your own health, and all those kind of, like, that itself is one sphere. So if you have that sphere and then you have the sphere of work, then I'm saying you have one more shot at doing this stuff, right? Now, doing that stuff and having that focus, it requires you to restrict other things, right? Like, you have to restrict family. You have to have certain restrictions and you have to sacrifice. You can't achieve these big things that we say we want to achieve without sacrificing some of these other things. It's just, unfortunately, it's just not possible. So you need to really, really ask yourself that my time outside work is this much. What am I filling it? And am I being consistent with this stuff? Because I'm telling you, consistency is the key. If you said to me from now on, I'm going to do like only like, I don't know, like 1 hour a day, just during the weekdays, right? For the next 1 year, that would be amazing in terms of your achievement. But in our mind, sometimes we're like, okay, I'll get to it. And when I do it, I'll do all of it. And I'll do like 20 hours in 1 day. And that's not the way. I've really found that consistency is the way. And of course, if you can build systems to bring about that consistency, then it's like really, really next level. So like, where are we at in terms of you cleaning out, you know, all these kind of things that are happening in your life which are not linked to what you're trying to focus on and achieve overall? Like, where are we at on that scale now? I'll give you an example. We just said that, let's imagine there's 3 spheres you're allowed. You're allowed your work sphere, you're allowed your personal sphere, and you're allowed this main project sphere that you want to do. Outside of work, let's say you have 100% of time outside work. Right now, how much time is going on personal sphere? How much time is going on the project sphere? And are there any other elements in there that are there as well? That's within the personal, right? So there's nothing else apart from personal and your project, you're saying. Okay. But percentage-wise, time-wise, how much is going on each sphere?
Yeah, right now it's work and just personal.
So we're basically saying that we're spending no time on the project, right? You need to ask yourself, why is that the case? Why is that? And I'm going back to like, you know, like when I'm thinking about me teaching children and stuff, like there was a thing within me that really wanted to do that. And I was doing that. And it was kind of easy for me to do that, right? Maybe because it was just like an hour and a half a day or whatever, right? But it was like I was being pulled to it. And I want you to choose a project and something that kind of pulls you towards it naturally as well, right? So if this is the right type of project which pulls you towards it and you really want to do, why do you think you're not spending time on it?